Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to the channel. On today's tutorial, we're making this double pleated off shoulder kind of dress with a bust dart. Now the length of my dress from my waist is 25 inches, and from there I'll take 9 inch for the first part, and the remaining parts will be for the second part, which will come to 9 inches for the first part and 16 inches for the second part. You can either make it longer or shorter, totally depends on you. When cutting the first part of your gathers, you want to times your waist measurement times 1.5 inches or times 2 to give it more gathers. So whatever you get there, you times it by 2 or 1.5 to give you the second part of your gathers. I already have 3 yards of this fabric. I would advise you use more to get more gathers. I'll be taking 5 inches off for my off shoulder effect. Then I'll go ahead and trace it off onto a fresh pattern paper. Make sure to transfer your bust point, your under bust line, your bust dart and your waist dart. I'll be coming down by 1 inch from my under bust point, and then I'll be adding 0.5 inch for my joining allowance. I've also gone ahead to add 1 inch for the seam allowance, and then I'll also add 0.5 inch on the top and 0.5 inch on around the armhole. If we remember, we're only having our bust dart, so in order for me to close our waist dart, I have to open up our bust dart. After we do this, our front pattern is ready. Now we're going to do wuru to the answer for the back. Now I'm going to close up my bust dart, then trace out the sides, and then I'll show you what to do next. When you trace out the side, remember your allowances are already added and transferred. Now we're going to eyeball this our extension. Now it totally depends on how long or how short you want this, and whatever you're going to connect it to the area towards your armhole. Now this part totally depends on you. I used 3.5 and then I connected it to my side seam using a kind of a curve instead of straight line. Remember to cut your front unfold, and when you open it up it's one piece, but your back you cut 2 times. When you open it up it's 2 pieces. I've gone ahead to cut the down part of the dress. Sorry I didn't show it, I thought I did, and I cut it the way I explained it at the beginning of this video. Now for the sleeves, if you want more puff, you have to add more fabric. So what I have there is 12 inches on fold, which is 24, and what I'm doing here is I'm going to trace out my armhole on my sleeve. But before I do that, I'll come down by 2 inches for the elastic casing, then go ahead and trace. When taking your sleeves length, remember to take it from the 2 inches casing allowance so it's not short. If I had known, I would have taken the whole full sleeves so it's not short. Now I have 2 pieces for the front, the lining and the main piece, and 4 pieces for the back, the lining and the main piece. And I also have my down parts, which is 2 pieces for the first part of our gathers and 2 pieces for the second part of our gathers. That's one for the front and one for the back. So what I'm doing right there is I'm marking the dart. I'm marking the dart on the main piece and also on the lining, so I'll be able to sew it. After marking it, I went ahead to pin it, and then I'll go ahead to sew it. After that, I'll go ahead and iron it. And then we'll be joining our lining to our fabric. We'll go ahead to join the upper part and also top stitch the lining area so it can lay very flat. After ironing this, we'll go to the back. We'll join it the way we join the front, leaving the armhole on the side open so we'll be able to turn it inside out after we join. Now we're going to be joining our front upper part to the lower part of our dress. So this is the longest stitch. Now we are going to draw it. If you are not as lazy as I am, just go ahead and do a 2 line instead of 1. Gently. This is what we have. Now we're going to attach this to the upper part of our dress. Now for the back part, instead of gathers, we're going to use an elastic. So we're going to create an elastic casing for the back. For my elastic, my waist measurement divided by 2 minus 3 inches is what I used for my elastic. After sewing my elastic casing, I'm going to pass my elastic through my elastic casing. This is my front down part. So now this is what I'll do. I'm going to attach my back lower part to my upper parts, and I'm going to put it in a way that it's on top of the upper part like I'm doing in the video, and then I'm going to top stitch it, and I'll do the same thing to the other side. Please just follow everything I'm doing in the video and you'll be fine. Now this is how the back would look like. We are going to attach our front bodice to the back bodice, and then we are going to sew it and sew it halfway in a way that we can be able to join. We'll be able to join our second layer of our pleats to the first layer. So our advice, you input your measurement before you join the front and the back bodies together because of the elastic. It was a bit difficult, so I had to tell my sister to help me hold the other side. My bust measurement divided by 2 is 60.5, but we have 18.5 here. So our minus 18.5 minus 60.5 equal to the 2 inches will be shared equally on both sides, 1 inch on the right and 1 inch on the left hand side. And I'll also repeat the same thing on the waist. And I'm going to go to my machine and sew it all the way down, leaving 2 inches open at the down part. Now this is what we have so far. What is left for us to do is to attach our second part of our gathers to the first part and then our sleeves. After gathering our second part of our gathers, we are going to connect it to the first part. We'll repeat the same thing we did for the front, repeat it to the back. All I'm doing here is to distribute the gathers. After doing this to the front and the back, you're going to join it on the side all the way down to the end of the dress. Do not forget right side facing each other. I'm going to sew in my elastic casing from the top part of my sleeve and the down part of the sleeve. For my top part elastic, I'm going to measure it this way. Whatever I get this, I'm going to minus 2 inches from it to give me a perfect elastic, not too loose and not too tight. You repeat the same thing for the hem of your sleeve, but this time you're taking the round arm measurement instead of the armhole. I'm going to sew it 1 inch on the side, then attach it to my bodice. Then I'll sew it 0.5 inch from the back towards the front area. Repeat the same thing to the other side of your sleeve. I'm going to sew in my elastic casing for the down part of my sleeve and do the same for the other side. There's just so many elastic casing we have to sew. After that, I'll pass in my elastic, then go ahead to finish my dress by sewing in the hem of the dress. We've come to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what you love to see on the channel. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Thank you so much for always supporting. I love you guys and do have an amazing day. Remember, stay beautiful.